Hi friends, welcome to AhiluArts channel. I am Oma. In this video we are going to do the most simple best customizable sweater ever. Okay, this is I'm just going to use double crochet and half double crochet. That's it. Okay, this is I'm going to do with I'm going to do for 6 to 9 months kid, but you can always customize that. Okay, so now for that what I'm doing is I'm using 6 mm hook with 4 ply yarn. You can use 5 mm hook also, and I have done 47 chains as a foundation chain for the collar. Okay, 47 chains, and then when you turn up, we all know we will be working only on the back bump of the stitch. So turn your chain upside down and do half double crochets from the second chain from the hook till the end. Okay, so we'll be having 46 half double crochets. Okay, so continue this. I'll tell you how to do the second row at the end of this row. Okay, see, I have done 46 half double crochets in my first row. This is gonna be the collar row. Now we are going to do the square format. Okay, for that what we are going to do is chain 1. In the first stitch alone, first and last stitch alone, we are going to use the 2 loops in order to secure the row. But after that we are going to work only on the back loop. Okay, because we have to see this V stitch abruptly. So we in the top V, we are going to work only in the back loop all the way through except for the last and the first stitch. Okay, so now how we are going to do is, I have done 1 stitch, so from the second stitch do it in the back loop. 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. After 6 stitches do a V stitch. Okay, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. Okay, then do 8 half double crochet. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So after the 8 half double crochet do a V stitch. V stitch is nothing but half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. Okay, we are making the corners now. All right, so after this V stitch do 14 half double crochet. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 and 14. So after the 14th stitch, see, now we have formed the front side, the shoulder and the back side. Now we are going to repeat the same. So after that, after 14th stitch do a V stitch, half double crochet, chain 1,
More way.
half double crochet.
More way.
After that, no switch off, Papa. Wait, is okay. Okay, I'll tell you when to switch off. Wait. So after that, sorry, after that we are going to do 8 half double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After the 8 half double crochets, we are doing the V-stitch like we did in the first end. So half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, and in the remaining 6 half double crochet we are going to do 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the 6th stitch do it with the both the loops because we want to secure the ends, right? So if you see here, we have formed the square like structure. This is the front side, this is the shoulder end, and this is the back side. So we are going to repeat the same rows again and again for 7 more times. So totally we'll have 9 rows. Okay, and in the 10th row we will do with the armhole. Okay, so continue the same row. You don't have to worry about the count of stitches now because the second row is the only row you have to count the stitches, and in the 3rd row you can just work in the flow. Okay, wherever you find the V-stitch, chain 1, you are going to do a V-stitch, and wherever you find a double crochet, half double crochet, you are going to do a half double crochet. So this row, if you see, I am doing 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instead of 6, and then in the chain 1 I am doing a V-stitch, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. So this is how it's gonna keep on increasing. Okay, always work on the back loop except for the first and the last stitch. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end of 9th row and we will do the 10th row with the armhole. Okay. Okay, now I have done 10 rows. Okay, so if you see, the ridge pattern is forming because we have done all the stitches in the back loop only. Okay, in each row, so it will be identical on both sides, so you can use either side as a right side. Okay, now we are going to make the armhole here and start the body. Okay, before that, 2 things I wanted to give you as a tip for what I was facing when I was doing these rows. Okay, first thing is, when you do this and when you do the V-stitch, the next stitch after the chain 1 will be buried inside the current V-stitch. So you should make sure that you are doing a stitch inside that stitch too. If you see here, this V-stitch is burying this stitch, but I am not missing that stitch. I am doing a stitch in there and then continuing. So when you do that, that's when it will be increasing uniformly. So if you see here, we have started 6 stitch from here and 8, 14, 8, 6, right? So now when we do the increase, all these 3 sides will be increasing 2 stitches each, because to both the sides they are having V stitches, right? But this side, the front side, will be increasing only 1, because including these 2 it will be increasing 1 each. Okay, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 stitch we'll have at the end of this 10th row. Okay, so at the same way, if you start 14 stitches from here, after the V stitch you will be increasing 2 stitches, right? So 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. You will have 32 stitches in the last 10th row. So like that, here we have started with 8 stitches. So 8, 10, 12, 16, 18, 20, 22, 26, 28, 30. Okay, like the same way, 8, 10, 12, 16, 18, sorry, we missed 18 in the other side. So 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Okay, so this is how your increase will happen. But again, I'm saying don't bother about the stitches. If you are doing the increase correctly without missing any stitch, your increase will be perfect. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, this is the row we are making the armhole and start the body. Okay, so chain 1, turn your work. In the first stitch alone, first and last stitch as alone, we are doing the half double crochet in both the loops. So again, do 1 stitch in each of the stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. The 16th stitch will be in the chain 1 of the previous V stitch. Okay, so now do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains for the armhole, and then do a half double crochet in the chain 1 of the next V stitch. Now we formed the armhole. Okay, now start. You see, when you do the chain 1, the next stitch will not be same as the next stitch, because this is the V you will be seeing. This V will not be perfectly seen, but you should not miss that stitch. Okay, if you miss a stitch in the one row, then you will be missing 2 stitches in the next row. So make sure you are not skipping or missing any stitches. Okay, so now we will be doing 1 stitch in the each stitch of the back side. So we know we had 32 stitches. Now including this stitch in the chain 1, we'll be having 34 stitches in the back. If you want to increase, this is when you have to continue doing before making the armhole. If you are making for a bigger size, you don't have to stop the increase at 10th row. You can always continue few more rows and then do this armhole round. Okay, one thing is there are 3 more standard bodice pattern we have done already. If you don't want to do these many rows, but you want to increase the size of the bodies with lesser rows, what you can do is you can do double crochet instead of a half double crochet. At that time the count won't be increasing, but the size of the bodies will be increasing with less number of stitch. You can also follow that pattern if you are doing for a smaller kid. Okay, I will share those links also in the description if you want to try different bodies for this sweater pattern. Okay, this will be good if you like a ribbed pattern, and again we are increasing the number of stitches without actually increasing the size of the sweater. Okay, the one thing you have to do when customizing is start with a bigger number of foundation chain, but the increase and every pattern will be the same. So now I have done the last stitch in the V stitch. Now I am doing 1 2 3 4 5 chains, and make sure you are folding in the same way as the previous one. Don't fold it on the opposite side because it will be weird. So fold it on the same side and then do a half double crochet in the V stitch, and then again don't miss the first stitch. Okay, so start from the first stitch and continue. So this side also you will be having 16 stitches like the other front side. Okay, so these two becomes the front side and this becomes the back side. If you notice, we have 16 plus 16 32 stitches in the front side but 34 stitches in the back side. The reason is we will be doing a border row with buttonholes in the front side, which will be making the front side a little bit more with more stitches. So if we do the same size with the front and back, we won't be having this gap to make the border row. Okay, it will be little bit awkward. So that is why we are having 2 stitches less than the back side. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, this is the base of our sweater pattern. Okay, now we have to get rid of this chain, so I'm going to do 1 stitch in each stitch all together. So if you see, I have 16, 16, 32 and 34 and 5 plus 5. So total I am having 76 stitches. So I am doing this row is the base row without any increase. Okay, hereafter we won't be doing any increase. So I will do 1 half double crochet in each stitch. Again, make sure you are doing only in the back loop. Okay, so continue this round without any increase. You will be having 76 stitches altogether. Okay, I'll meet you at the end of this row, this 12th row, and we'll start the sweater pattern. Okay, so you have completed the 12th row with 1 stitch in each stitch, right? So now what I'm going to do is chain 2. This will be considered as nothing, so do a double crochet in the same stitch and then do a chain 1. Okay, so skip the next stitch and in the 3rd stitch do a cluster, yarn over, insert, pull up, pull through 2 and then do that 3 times, so that we'll have 4 loops in the hook, and pull through all the 4 loops and chain 1. This is how we'll do a cluster. I'll share the separate tutorial for cluster also. So skip the next stitch because we have done a chain 1, and in the next stitch do a cluster. So this is how we are going to continue throughout. Okay, so cluster chain 1 and cluster chain 1. So when we reach the last stitch we will do the cluster, and in the last stitch we are going to do a double crochet. Okay, so continue till the end and I'll tell you how to do the next row. So we are going to do the same cluster, and the next row what we are going to do again and again till we reach the desired size. Okay, so continue. We'll meet at the end of this row. Okay. Okay, I have done the cluster stitch all the way through, and in the last stitch after cluster we will be having only one stitch, so don't worry, you don't have to do a chain one, because in the last stitch we have to have a border double crochet, right, just like the beginning. So you can do a double crochet immediately after the cluster. So this is how we will be completing the cluster stitch. After this, if you want, you can change the color for this row, because we are going to do a single crochet row. Because if you do a cluster row without single crochet, then we'll be having both front sides, right side and wrong side of the cluster on visible. So we don't want that. So what I'm going to do is chain one, turn your work, do a single crochet throughout the stitches. If you want, you can change the color for the single crochet row, but again you have to cut the yarn and start the cluster from the opposite side to make the right side in the open side. Okay, so now one trick is, don't do a single crochet in the hole, in the gap. Do a single crochet in the chain with first top two loops of the chain, so that it will make the sweater look very good, as well as there will be no extra gap. I'll show you. If I do the single crochet in between, not on the loop but in the hole, you can see the gap here. You see what I'm saying? This gap is smaller than this gap. So don't do in the chain space, but do the single crochet on the chain like this. Okay, so continue the same two rows, cluster and single crochet, cluster and single crochet throughout till you reach the total number of 30 rows. We have done 12 rows of half double crochet already, right? So now 18 more of these rows, cluster, single crochet, cluster, single crochet. So we'll be having 9 clusters and 9 single crochet rows. Okay, but that is not a constant number. I'll be increasing also in order to reach my desired size. Okay, so total, since I have told you I am doing for 6 to 9 months, the total height should be 33 centimeters, which is 21 inches. So I will be doing the same, I will be repeating the same 2 rows again and again till I reach the desired size. Okay, you can check in Google till the what size you are doing, and you can continue the same 2 rows till you reach that measurement. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end of this pattern, and after that we'll do the border row with the buttonhole and the hand part. Okay, see, I have completed the 10 rows of cluster stitch and single crochet, so total 20 rows. See here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, you don't have to stop by 10. If you want to continue more to make it as a 3/4 sweater instead of a waist level sweater, you can continue, that's not a problem. And now we are going to do a border row. Border rows are 2 rows. One is half double crochet, in which we will be making the buttonholes, and the final row is a single crochet, which will be covering all the stitches. Okay, so now in order to make the border row, we'll start from here, chain 1. If you are changing the colors for each and every single crochet, then it's good, you will be continuing the same color for the border also. Okay, so now we are going to do a double crochet. The pattern is, when you see in the border we have single crochet and double crochet, single crochet and double crochet, right? So we'll be doing 1 stitch, 1 half double crochet in 1 single crochet, and 2 half double stitches in the double crochet. So that is the pattern we are going to follow to make sure that both the sides are having same number of stitches. Okay, so now while doing this we'll be doing the buttonholes also. So chain 1, do a half double crochet in the first single crochet, and then do 2 half double crochets in the chain 2. This side will be having the chain 2s, and in the single crochet do 1 half double, and in the chain 2 do 2 half double, and single crochet 1 stitch, double crochet 2 stitches. Okay, now after completing 2 cluster stitch row, when I reach my after completing 3 cluster stitch row, when I'm here in the single crochet row, what I'm going to do is chain 1 and skip this single crochet and do a 2 half double crochet in the next chain 2 directly, which makes our first buttonhole. You see here, after the 3 cluster stitches in this single crochet row. If you are using a bigger button, you can do through 2 chains also, but since half double crochet gives us enough space, this 1 chain will be enough. Okay, and then continue 1 and 2 stitches respectively in the single crochet and chain 2. Button spacing is up to your own choice according to the number of buttons you wish to have in the sweater, but I am just telling what I am doing. Okay, after this, see, we have done 1 2 3 cluster stitches. So again 1 2 3 cluster stitches are done, right? So after the 3 cluster stitch in this single crochet row, I am making a chain 1 for a buttonhole and continue the 2 half double crochets in the next chain 2. So technically we will be doing, after this buttonhole, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 stitches and then the next buttonhole. So like that. See, 1 2 3 cluster stitches are done. So in the final stitch we'll have one more buttonhole in the single crochet, and in the final cluster we will continue the half double crochets. You see? Okay, now so 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Okay, after 7 stitches, if I see, the gap will be the same. You see? So now I'm doing one more chain and skip the first row. You will be seeing the rows clearly because we'll have the ridge pattern, right? So this is why when we do the half double crochet rounds, we were using both the loops, because if we have used only one loop, then the border row will be so much unsecure. Okay, so that is why. Okay, now skip the stitch and do a half double crochet in the next stitch, technically next row, and continue same. Okay, and when I reach here in the first stitch, first two rows, I'm skipping one stitch with a chain 1 to have a collar button, and then in the first stitch I am making a stitch. Okay, so I have 5 buttonholes. If you see here, 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, now what I'm going to do, see, chain 1, turn your work and continue one half double crochet in each of the stitch. This is why we are doing, we have done foundation row in the bump, so that now we can see the V perfectly, and we can continue in the V's. Okay, so continue the whole border all this way until here. We know one stitch in all the half double crochets, one stitch in single crochet, and 2 stitches in the double crochets till here. Okay, and then we will continue one row of border all the way from here till the other side. I'll meet you at here. I'll meet you here and we'll start the next row. Okay.